Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with a design team post for Scrapping for Less. Today I'm going to be using the My Favorite Things Which Way is the Candy stamp set, and I'm going to be making a 5.5-inch square card. So I am first going to stamp some of these images because I'm going to kind of make a scene, and I'm going to do some Distress Oxide blending. I'm going to do some masking, and I'm also going to be using the Nitpicky Fall from Fawn Paperpad for one of the pieces under there. So, like I said, I'm making a scene, and I'm going to be blending with a cloud dye and a hillside a stencil, the cloud stencil and a hillside stencil. And I'm going to be using Walnut Stain, Vintage Photo for the ground, Worn Lipstick, Wilted Violet, and Faded Jeans for the sky, or for the cloud stencil. And that is what I'm going to be doing to kind of create this background behind the stamps. And I wanted it to be kind of not exactly spooky, but just kind of a, I don't know, Halloween themed, I guess, background with the purples and the blues, and to give the sky kind of a cool look and outline. I did mask all of the images after I stamped them, and I also did a little bit of masking with the cat and the frog and the pumpkins. After I took that off, I am going to use Copic markers to do my coloring, and those are all the ones that I'm using. And I'm going to finish coloring up all of these images. Now, like I said, this is going to be a 5.5-inch square card. So I took a piece of cardstock and cut it down to 5.5 inches and folded it in half. And then the piece that I am using to color for the front panel is 4.5 inches, and then the piece from the Nitpicky paper pad is 5 inches square. So that is all of the papers that I use for this card. And after I finish up the coloring, I do use Which Way is the Candy sentiment on the top, and I did heat emboss that with some clear embossing powder and VersaFine black onyx ink. If you have watched any of my videos, you probably know that Distress Oxide blending is one of my absolute favorite techniques to do. I love creating backgrounds and different things with blending Distress Oxides. They blend so beautifully. They are just absolutely amazing with how they blend and how they work, and if you have never tried it, you really need to. I would think most people have probably tried it by this time, but it really is just absolutely amazing. So when I masked, I put a couple pumpkins in the corner, and it was kind of on the back of a hill, so it kind of looks a little bit further away, whereas the witch and the cat and the frog look a little bit further up. I did put that little bat in there, and then the moon. And when I did the coloring of the moon, I wanted to give it a little shadow, and I used a light tan color, almost a pinkish color, to give it that little bit of shading. Once I was finished coloring, I did use the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen on the moon, and then I also used my gel pen on the eyes and nose and mouth of the girl, or the little witch, the eyes of the frog, the cat, and the bat, and then the nostrils and the mouth of the frog, just to, again, give it a little bit of dimension. After I was finished coloring this, I did pop it up with some fun foam after I picked out the piece that I wanted, and I decided to use a yellow Nitpicky that kind of looks like little hearts going all around it, and that's what I'm going to use as kind of the frame. And like I said, I did cut that down to the 5 inches, and then the piece on the top is the 4.5 inches. The sentiment, like I said, I did heat emboss that, and sometimes I did remember to use my powder tool, so yay. But sometimes I go back and forth. I love the look of heat embossing, but when you're putting it directly on the card and then you're going to heat emboss it, sometimes it can get a little bit wonky, and so you got to really be careful when you're doing that. You want to make sure that you turn your heat gun on and let it run for a good few minutes so that it gets really, really hot before you heat emboss it, so that you don't have to have it sitting there for a long period of time. So after I finish that up, that is pretty much my card. And like I said, I love doing these type of backgrounds, and I just think this card is super fun, and I love the little frog and the little cat that's on there. And the fun foam, you can see I cut it a little bit too large, but that's no big deal. I just kind of snipped off some of it. And that is it for, oh, and then I also used some pumpkin Nuvo drops on the card just to give it that last little bit of accent. I kind of framed the broom and the witch area, and then I framed the moon with those Nuvo drops. So that is it. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope everybody takes care.